So, let's listen to C00ndace Owens lie like a motherfucker several times over about what effect Obama had on racism in this country. Y'all, listen to this bullshit.
Obama did a lot to tear this country apart. I do not remember when I was growing up having all of these race issues, okay? I really don't remember it. And then suddenly towards the end of Obama, we started hearing all of this rhetoric drummed up. It became white versus black all over again. And I say all over again, I shouldn't even say that because when I was alive, this was not an issue. It all became about race. And I really do think that they were laying down the groundwork for Hillary to run because they had already pre-selected her to be the president of the United States. So they started using that awful name-calling rhetoric, which they fell short of.
What did Obama do that drove
backed up
this
the police violence stuff? He backed up the myth of police. It's the myth of police brutality. I'm not done.
If they're wrong,
he added fire. He added gasoline to a fire that was simply untrue. The myth of police brutality as something that was a problem facing
the myth of police brutality.
16 black Americans during 20.
So you deny that police don't brutalize black people and brown people?
White Americans and Hispanic Americans are shot at a higher rate than black Americans.
That's just not true.
It's 100%.
Yeah, it's so goddamn. It's like, wait, what? First, let's deal with the lies she told as far as Obama is concerned. And then we're going to pull up her biggest lie, which is that she never experienced any racism growing up. First of all, she says Obama gassed up the police brutality issue that we have had in this country since the inception of the police, who started off as motherfucking slave catchers. She first tried to act like Obama's responsible for, fueling up the fire on police brutality, which is a lie. If you look at the legislation that Obama signed, the Blue Alert law. If you do any amount of research, you can find this law where it supports police. If you remember Freddie Gray out in Baltimore and what Obama had to say to black folk at the time where black folk were expressing themselves by running through shit, tearing up shit. Some people would argue against the method, but nonetheless, what the fuck did Obama have to add to the conversation? If you remember, he ain't do nothing but tell niggas to calm down, quit acting like thugs. Well, if you don't remember, goddammit, this is real shit. So for her to sit here and act like Obama, he didn't give a fuck about police brutality. Obama ain't never gave a fuck about no damn police brutality. So what the fuck is this bitch even talking about? And then the biggest lie she gonna tell is that she never dealt with racism when she was growing up. But in 2008, she had a discrimination suit going on. If you look at the screen here, I'm going to put the still up right here so you can see this shit. In 2008, she had a discrimination suit against some white boys that was calling her names and using verbal threats, racial names. She was trying to sue for, I think it was over $350,000. They ended up selling for about $35,000. She done won monies off this. Got us some bread off this shit. Had the NAACP backing her stupid ass. Now, C00ndace Owens, has made a transition. Now she's, acting like racism was never a real issue and, all this shit. How the fuck in 2008, we do some simple mathematics here. We're talking about a little over a decade ago, about 11 years ago. You were in a full-blown discrimination lawsuit against some white boys. I think at the time it was the city that she lived in, I forget. It was the mayor's son was a part of this shit too. NAACP came in here, helped you win some money, and now all of a sudden you done forgot racism was even a thing. Like, come on. Like, can you really take bitches like this serious? Can you? These coon-ass conservatives that want to sit around and act like racism is a made-up concept? Do you really get to act like that if you're paying attention to any amount of media and anything like that? How can you just ignore racism at this point? How can you act like it's some made up facade. When you see how the justice system works, the so-called justice system works against the people, the institutions in this country, how they work against the people. How can you sit around? This is not even dealing with, you know, just a random ass white person calling you a nigger, because I've been told y'all that's low level racism. That's introduction to racism. That shit don't really necessarily affect you. You can just throw the hands on them motherfuckers and deal with that yourself. It's the institutional racism that effectively, if anything's gonna hold you back, it's the institutional shit. Whole systems being made against you, whole banks that won't loan to you so you can start businesses, an entire government that's targeted against you. It's a little bit different than some random at a grocery store, or hell, like in Trina's case, at a Walmart somewhere calling you a nigger bitch. That's low level. That's low level shit. But for Candace to sit around and act like she's never dealt with this, and there's public record that she did, you dealing with a goddamn kook. You're dealing with a goddamn crazy ass, stupid ass bitch. That's what you're dealing with here. A sellout. And by every definition of the word, is a sellout. This is what you're dealing with. This is what white people are respecting her. They love this motherfucker. Because she's the type of black person that will ignore their actions. She is the type of black person that will get on national TV and say that police brutality is some type of made up facade. It's imaginary. And Obama added fuel to it. Like, bitch, was you paying attention or not? She's saying anything for money. That's the definition of a sellout. That's what it is. That's who she is. Some would view her as intelligent. I do think she's well-spoken. But if you listen to the words that she's speaking, it's not so well. Because the bitch is lying. And creating a narrative that only conservative whites would love. Well, most of these whites. Let's be real. She's creating that narrative as a black person, which is why they're using her little stupid ass. She's allowing herself to be used against you. This is what she's doing. This is what she's done. And you have to understand this shit. When you listening to these so-called black conservatives, these fucking idiots that want to sit around and act like racism isn't a real thing, that racism doesn't affect the lives of black people. Hell, even where you born at is affected by fucking racism. Niggas just, you know, these Republican motherfucking coon niggas is just too stupid to even think about that. There's a reason you was born in the ghetto. There's a reason for that. It's called redlining. An issue that you won't even see many people address. There's a reason you born into impoverished areas. You don't get to choose that. There's a reason in those areas cops are circling the goddamn block all day. Ain't no job opportunities, so of course people are going to turn to illegal means to make money. They don't want to talk about that though. They don't want to deal with that though. You gave all the land to the motherfucking European immigrants, which is what they should be motherfucking called. These European colonizing immigrants. You gave all the land to them so they could pass that down through their lineage. While a lot of our people raising their kids in fucking projects and ghettos. This is the reality. So you affected by racism before you even fucking born. But nobody wants to deal with that. Candace Owens is a disgrace and should be deemed as such by any black person with any amount of common sense. And we can let white people love her. That's sensible to me, that white people would love her. But there shouldn't even be a black person. Not one black person fucking with this type of rhetoric. And anybody that's talking like this. Because I hold black people to task. There are things that we could work on amongst ourselves. Areas we could be a lot stronger in. We'll deal with those things on these videos. We'll talk about those things. Many have talked about it before me. Many talking about it right now. But to sit here and say, one, police brutality isn't real, and two, you've never dealt with racism at all, and you got a full-blown discrimination case, public record that you won money from, as you getting support by the NAACP? You gonna sit here and deny that shit? You was being heckled and called names and threatened by some white boys? And racism ain't real? And you turn around and go find you a white man who probably treats you like a slave bitch and you like it. I'm sure you into this type of what you would deem or what some would deem as role play. I'm sure you're into this shit. I'm sure you love this shit. Because you're a coon. This is what we're dealing with, y'all. These are the motherfuckers they invite on these shows. These are the motherfuckers that they give, put microphones in their fucking face, want to hear what they got to say. Coolness Owens is a disgrace. Anybody who thinks like her is a fucking disgrace. Anybody who agrees with her is a fucking disgrace. That's all it is to it. Fucking sellouts. She'll be the first one to sell your ass out. For little to nothing. So understand what we're dealing with out here. These people must be called out. These people must be held to task. Because these mentalities exist amongst our people in large number. Because it ain't just her. I wish it was just her. That'd make this shit a whole lot easier, wouldn't it? If it was just Candace Owens on some coon shit all the time. No, it's not though. It's most black people on some coon shit at all times. Saying silly shit. To understand what we're dealing with here. That's all the fuck I wanted to say. Like, share, subscribe, hit that notification bell, y'all. Put the word out. Links in the description box to follow me on social media. To donate, to order a t-shirt from a brother. Mad love to everybody who's been ordering t-shirts. Mad love to y'all. Follow me on social media. Shout out Team Rob. Y'all already know what the fuck it is. I'm out.